Well, tit for tat is a fair game, and looks like Man City are trying to play the same game to Arsenal, because last season they lost Declan Rice to Arsenal, and looks like Man City are not willing to obviously lose Bruno Guimaraes to the side of Arsenal again. And it's Jacobs Ben confirming to us that Arsenal is losing the Bruno Guimaraes transfer battle to the side of Man City. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. This is a football news show in here for you as we talk Pochettino finally putting out his farewell bid message to the side of Chelsea fans, and a lot to do with what we call Kamada, who has gonna hit obviously coming through to play in London. And Kamada is coming to London, and you already know the team that is gonna be representing into the mix. Let's see, close to 400 likes watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe because we want to hit let me check what is our total reach now. It's all about 21,000, right? Really accurate. 21,000 and 355. We are left with 45 subscribers to hit 21,400. So guys, 45 subscribers. Let's get the job done. Let's get the job done, and let's see to it that this all goes our way in here onto the Rokani Media Football. We thank God for the gift of life, the Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum, and let's obviously start it off into the mix as follows. Now we are having Jacobs Ben obviously telling us that Man City remains the most likely destination if Bruno Guimaraes leaves Newcastle. They currently are the only club contemplating triggering his £100 million clause, all offering a similar number to it. Contact has already been made with Bruno Guimaraes' camp as revealed. Arsenal appreciates Bruno Guimaraes, but will not only proceed if the price drops. PSG not actively working on Bruno Guimaraes despite historical interest. Al Hilal have discussed triggering the clause, but Bruno Guimaraes doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. He's happy at Newcastle, so not pushing to leave, but the clause means an exit can't be ruled out. Now, when you look at the statement that Jacobs Ben, a tier 1 journalist that is going to put out, it obviously sends a message to you that something is really being worked out for Bruno Guimaraes to obviously leave the side of Newcastle. And Arsenal have interest in the player, as we've for a very long time come in here and obviously explained, but they can only enter the race if at all the price drops. That is Arsenal's stance for you. And for the side of Man City, they are the only English club that is willing to obviously trigger. Hear me out. The only English club that is willing to trigger the buyout clause of Bruno Guimaraes, meaning that Arsenal are like losing the race. They are ready to lose it, because if you are not ready to lose the race, do you know what you do? You obviously put yourself in the picture of not really getting bulled by the side of Man City. And it shows you that Man City are really very eager to see to it that they obviously win this race, because they know to it that Declan Rice was really a very huge factor into what Arsenal had to really achieve this season, and they don't want to be the same team again, like giving Arsenal another brilliant player. And I think Man City is doing this because they know that if Bruno Guimaraes gets into that midfield of Arsenal, it's gonna turn out into a different midfield altogether. Midfield of Man City will obviously suffer, and Arsenal should also know to it that if Bruno Guimaraes joins the midfield of Man City, it's really gonna increase its strength, you know, because they'll be having Rodri, Bruno Guimaraes, and maybe Phil Foden. You know, those two additions will be really great into that midfield, because Kevin De Bruyne is expected to leave Man City, and he's going to obviously hold an interview while with his Belgian national team, and he has not ruled out the chance of him leaving the side of Man City this summer transfer window. So Bruno Guimaraes, when he partners with Declan Rice and Odegaard, I think Pep Guardiola cannot even imagine about it, because he knows to it that he would have gone ahead to put himself in a position of really giving Arsenal a chance to thrive over him in that midfield and really win very many games, because Bruno Guimaraes is really a player that's going to obviously reach a level to play for the big teams. And Man City are like, we are having the money. And why is Arsenal acting like they're not having the money? Arsenal look like they want to really have a very sufficient spend or expenditure this summer, and they wouldn't like to go for players of £100 million. And when you look at Man City, for them, they've gone ahead to earn in more money than Arsenal, because Man City won the Premier League and he got in more money, and Man City, I think, went ahead to win more games in the Champions League, though they obviously went ahead to be knocked out at the same stage. But the wins Man City got are more than those of Arsenal, and that shows you that Arsenal made less money in the Champions League than Man City, and Man City have gone here to edge them in making money. But Arsenal can obviously come in through and obviously level it up here. You know, the number of fans they get, the match going fans, and how much they pay their ticket is more expensive than that of Man City. And Arsenal can also really level it up with the number of players they want to sell. For example, Arsenal has a long list of players they want to sell. There is Emily Smith-Rowe, they can get like 40. Reece Nelson, they can get like 30, that is 70. And Edin Keita, they can get like 35, that is 100. In 3 players, they can sell, they can get like £100 million. When you add on to Thomas Partey, you know, I've gone ahead to make a list here that I went ahead obviously jot down. When you add on Thomas Partey, you obviously have £130 million, because Thomas Partey might cost a team that wants to buy him from Arsenal £30 million. Then there is Fabio Vieira, another one that can see Arsenal get £30 million from that. There is even Zinchenko, who can obviously collect more 30, meaning that Arsenal can really sell players and get £200 million. We all know that. But the big question is, don't you think even Man City has players to sell to obviously level up? The answer is yes. Man City has a list of players that can be sold, and they've already gone ahead to get him £20 million from their lad that was playing at Southampton, that saw Southampton be promoted to the league of the Premier. You get? And they got him £20 million already. Now, they're having Calvin Phillips, whom they can sell for like 30-40 million pounds, and that will be like 60 million pounds already gathered in. Kevin De Bruyne is another one, or a candidate to depart the side of Man City, and Kevin De Bruyne has gone ahead obviously not rule out a chance of him leaving Man City, and they are willing to sell him for £100 million to Saudi Arabia, meaning that takes their income to £160 million. They are having João Cancelo, who can get them £30 million from the side of Barcelona, and that takes their income expected to £200 million. And they are having Ederson Moraes, a goalkeeper, who has not ruled out leaving the side of Man City this summer transfer window, to see to it that he takes his level, or he takes his competitive edge to the next level. That is Ederson for you, and Man City expecting close to £50 million from that player. So when you add the £200 million that Arsenal can get from their players to that Man City can get, it shows you that Man City has all the edge over Arsenal to put in the best results possible in as far as convincing Bruno Guimaraes to come in through. And they are really at a race that no one can really stop them from obviously going in. So wait and see who is going to win this race. Now, what has gone ahead to give Arsenal to be into that complacency zone, even if Man City is like, all right, we are going to go all in for Bruno Guimaraes. Now, Arsenal are really having very many other options, and they're 100% sure that if Man City sign a player of £100 million, they're not going to go all out to sign another player at the same amount of money, or a player in the region of like 80 or 90 million pounds. And Arsenal is having very many options that they are looking at that can come in through on a cheap to obviously come in through and really reinforce that midfield of Arsenal. Now, the other player, the first player to talk about is Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz is a player that Arsenal and Man City are really monitoring, and Douglas Luiz has a price tag put on his head as £105 million. Now, for Arsenal's side, they're 100% sure that they can negotiate this deal down. Something they can't do for Bruno Guimaraes, because for Bruno Guimaraes, it's a buyout clause. And for Douglas Luiz, he doesn't have a buyout clause in his contract, meaning that Arsenal can sit down with Aston Villa to negotiate with him, though Aston Villa is not a better side you can come into and really negotiate with. You understand? So for Douglas Luiz, Arsenal can really negotiate down the deal, and maybe they have some players that they have that even Aston Villa need, like Emile Smith-Rowe. So they can obviously try to negotiate a deal where they use one of the players that they have that Aston Villa want as a make weight, and they see this guy cross from Aston Villa to Arsenal. The other player is João Neves. João Neves is another player that fits the region of the amount of money that Arsenal really want to obviously pay out to a central midfielder to come into and reinforce their side. And this guy is really special because he's a multi-dimensional player. He can play across that back line. He can play in every position of the midfield. He can be played as a right winger. He can be played as a left winger. And the only position he can't play on the pitch is the centre forward position, meaning that Arsenal looking at him as being more versatile, and he goes for £85 million, and that is the buyout clause for this guy. And Arsenal will be like, why don't we spend £15 million less than the amount of Bruno Guimaraes and get in a player who can really act as a patch in very many areas of the pitch than us going in for Bruno Guimaraes, who can only play two positions, a number 6 and number 10 position. So João Neves is also there, but Man United is also advancing hits pursuit of this guy. A story coming in through from Record Portugal indicates that Man United have gone ahead to put in their first bid, but it has gone ahead to be rejected. But that story remains to be ratified by the top gurus in the summer transfer window, because this source from Portugal is like a third or second tier source there for you. The other player is Martin Zubimendi, of huge interest from Arsenal, but looks like he's not really one of those players that is going to come into and really intrigue the side of Arsenal and see to it that they obviously get the best that they want from this guy, because he wants to go to Barcelona, but there is a very huge red flag. Barcelona don't have the 65 million euros to obviously land the deal of Zubimendi, but Zubimendi is also there and is cheaper. He can go in for like 55 million pounds, and Arsenal will be like, let's go in for Zubimendi, not Bruno Guimaraes. Then Yusuf Fofana, 20 million euros is the price for him. Very cheap guy, and he's going to speak out that he's leaving the side of Monaco. Now, Onana from Everton, 50 million pounds. Now, as I've always told you, that Douglas Luiz, João Neves and Zubimendi, Douglas Luiz and João Neves and Bruno Guimaraes are not most likely to come in through at Arsenal because of their price, because their price tag can get in two more midfielders into that club of Arsenal. For example, if you get Zubimendi at 50 million pounds, you can get Fofana for 18 million pounds. You are spending 68 million pounds on two midfielders are really elite and have a very high ceiling. You can also spend 15 million pounds on Fofana and then 50 on Onana. All spend 50 on Zubimendi and spend 50 on Onana. That is 100 million pounds, something they cannot do with Douglas Luiz, João Neves or Bruno Guimaraes. And here I understand how Arsenal really doing their things, and I think it's a good plan for the club of Arsenal. But I tell you what, if I'm Arsenal, I wouldn't miss out on Bruno Guimaraes. I love the player. And if he joins Man City, you'll see a very huge difference in the team of Man City next season. And every Arsenal fan will be like, I wish we went in for Bruno Guimaraes. You get? Like Man City fans were last season, contemplating and lamenting that they wish they really matched the 105 million pounds bid that Arsenal had gone ahead to put in to sign Declan Rice, because Declan Rice was a revelation into that Arsenal side. And there is a story I'm going to bring to you about Ian Wright, explaining to you why he thinks Declan Rice was the reason as to why Arsenal went ahead to obviously match the side of Man City till the last day of the summer transfer window. Now, let's go to Chelsea. They sacked Mauricio Pochettino, and Pochettino has gone ahead to put out what we call a lengthy letter after his departure, and it read, to the owners, the sporting directors, we appreciate the opportunity to return to the Premier League at this club, Chelsea, and for the support you gave us, as well as from other players, staff and fans. Thank you we understand how important this football club is to you, and that is why we work so hard to give you a Chelsea you can be proud of. I'm so pleased with the level that team reached and the way the players and the staff have all worked so hard to increase their standards. They deserve great credit, and I hope you felt that too in how they performed on the pitch. We know there have been ups and downs, but we always believed in this team and that we would arrive at a consistent level. I believe the experiences of this season and big improvements we saw, I hope will only make the players stronger for the future. It has been a pleasure to work with them all, and we appreciate the strong bonds we created in this year altogether. I want to wish all of you the best for next season and beyond. It is great that we have the chance to return to Stamford Bridge so soon with Soccer Aid this weekend, and I hope that we get to see some of you there. I hope all get to have a great summer. That is Mauricio Pochettino, that sacked from Chelsea, and I think he's this kind of manager who needs to obviously get in a team that is willing to build to go to the next step, because each and every time he'll go in for those top jobs, I don't think that he'll obviously excel. The pressure is too much. Can he really handle or hold on to the smoke in the kitchen? I don't think he can't. And that's why his most hugest achievement was with Tottenham Hotspur, a club that was not all about trophies, but was building towards getting trophies. And I think that's what Mauricio Pochettino should do. He should get in clubs that don't have pressure of winning trophies, but they're building for the next future to obviously get there and see themselves really, maybe in 2-3 years to come, compete for trophies and play in the Champions League. I think if he's managing such clubs, I think he's really good. And I tell you, one of those clubs can be Brighton, and look at clubs like Aston Villa, look at clubs like West Ham, Newcastle. I think such clubs can obviously get hold onto him for some long time. But each and every time he has tried to go in for big clubs. PSG, he couldn't last, I think, for 2 seasons. When you look at Chelsea, he has only lasted a season, meaning that he needs to revise his potential and how he obviously does his work. So he's out of the side of Chelsea and is linked to Man United, a team I support, and I wouldn't see any reason as to why my team that I support could go in for a player like that. Why in the world could someone go in for a player called, hear me out, why in the world could a team like Man United go in for a player called for a manager called Pochettino, who has failed, and even he has not gonna obviously win any trophies in his career? You understand? I think the only one he won is the one with the French League 1 champions, that is Paris Saint-Germain, and that is not news because anyone wins it, but some will counter me and say, Rokani, the Bundesliga has been won for the last, I think, is it 10 years or 11 years by the side of Bayern Munich, but Tuchel lost it. But Tuchel and Pochettino are in the same ilk. I tell you, they are into the same ilk, and I tell you, they will never be into that bracket of the great managers the world has gone here to see. And I'm so much shocked that all those managers are being to Manchester United, a team that I support, and I don't really want to see it that we really get linked to such people. I feel even agitated to see the club I support linked to Pochettino and Thomas Tuchel. I rather go De Zerbi, though I don't even want him. I want Erik ten Hag to stay to my team. So that is it for the side of Pochettino bidding farewell to the fans of Chelsea, and is head to obviously go ahead and really manage a game over this weekend. It's gonna be a charity game, something that is good for everyone to see to it that he's involved into these charity activities that are really so much used to obviously give back to the community. Now, after that, as we call it quits, let's really bring in a story coming in from Kamada. This guy is one step away from obviously being revealed as a player for Crystal Palace in London, and he has really had more content to reveal to us from Fabrizio Romano, and Fabrizio told us that more on Daichi Kamada and Crystal Palace. He will go confirmed, and his contract will be valid until 2026. Understand it's a 2-year deal for the Japanese to rejoin Oliver Glasner, just waiting on medical to take place. Now, 2-year deal, don't know why it is a 2-year deal, because if I'm Crystal Palace, I'm being put into a weak position in here. What if this guy comes in through his first season, he obviously hits the ground running and really scores close to 17, 18, 20 goals? Because he can. And what if he does that? That means top clubs will be looking at him, and he'll be having a weak way of negotiating, because it's going to be a 2-year deal. I wish they had one more further year as an option in there, such that if at all he performs well in the first season and teams coming through for him, he really has 2 years left on his contract. So we wait and see how things pan out. But when his medical is done and dusted, I'll be here to bring to you what I think this guy should be doing in there for you. So Rokani David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later as I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about Arsenal losing Bruno Guimaraes' battle. What do you think about it? And Pochettino bids farewell to Chelsea fans as Kamada contract terms revealed. May the living to God bless you abundantly. The Muslims Barakallahu fikum. We out. See you later.